The phenomenon known as Beatlemania originated in the United Kingdom, homeland of the Beatles, when the band achieved enormous popularity in late 1962. The first recording session of the Beatles was on June 6 on year 1962, from which no material worth publishing came out, although Love Me Do, which was recorded in the September season, had some impact on the United Kingdom, reaching number 17 of the charts. There has been no band in the history of music that has influenced culture, society, and politics in the world like the Beatles. The Liverpool Four knew how they reached people in their time and transcended history. Socialist Paul Bonilla says that in order to know the social impact they had, one must first understand what their beginnings were. Beginnings that in 1960 were linked to the post-war period, to the lags that it left and to the beginning of hippies, times that marked progress events in the new generation of desire for world peace. They began to create their music, says Bonilla, in a stratified British society with very little social movement, but his influence was not limited to Britain but to the USA, which was going through a dramatic moment at the time. Given all this, the social presence of the Beatles due to the quality of their records, lyrics and music was also mixed with the war and the economy. British musicians forget their image according to that interaction with the new groups that emerged in the England and America. For the journalist and researcher Catherine Orquera, there is no record similar to S.G.T. Paper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, in which most of its lyrics reflect the state and situation that the young people of that time lived. His influence is noticeable to this day, and we can clearly see it in those mirrors like the birthday and death of John Lennon, followed and admired to this day by many like Paul McCartney, Ringo, and George, said Orquera. But for communicator Christian Arteaga, the Beatles go beyond a change in the socio-cultural context. His music influenced rock even in other legendary bands, such in the case of the Rolling Stones. In their composition, in their arrangements, in their presence, in everything. The Beatles were 30 years ahead of postmodernity. The popularity of the Anglo-Saxon group was called Beatlemania. During their time on the stage, 1960 to 1969, they were considered the embodiment of progressive ideals that sought a change in post-war society.
The Beatles is an English rock band that are commonly regarded as the most important and influential band in the history of popular music, with a lineup consisting of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. They sparked the Beatlemania phenomenon in 1963, gained international stardom in 1964, and remained active until their breakup in 1970. During the second uh, during the second half of the decade, they were often seen as orche- orchestrators of development in society. His recognition refers to his effect on the youth and the counterculture of the time, the British identity, the evolution of popular music into an art form, and his unprecedented following. The fans and the media swarmed the Beatles at Schiphol Airport in the Netherlands. This happened in June 1964. Many cultural movements of the 1960s were aided or inspired by the Beatles. In Britain, they rise to national promises signaled youth-driven change in post-war society. With regard to the social mobility, the commercial influence of adolescence and informality, they spearheaded the shift from the global dominance of rock and roll from American artists to the British acts. This is known in America as the British Invasion and inspired many young people to pursue their musical careers. Since then, the impact that the Beatles had in the United Kingdom and in the world was huge. They led all the musical charts. The people really enjoyed their music because the lyrics were so meaningful to the fans, and with those reasons, that's why the this British band can be named as the best in the history of the music.
The Beatles, why did they have such an impact in the 60s? The Beatles, that magnificent band that revolutionized the panorama of their time, its long and extensive musical discography, together with all the controversy of each one of the members and the lyrics that managed to mobilize an entire generation, make this group on one of the most influential in the history not only of rock but of music in general. We are going to delve into the social, political, and cultural impact that this band caused during the 60s.
Hi, I'm Perla Cobos, and I will talk about the Beatles in the history of music. No band has influenced the world culture, society, and politics like the Beatles. Their influence was not limited in Britain, but the United States, and had a huge impact on the baby boomers, a generation born after Second World War. There is no album similar to SGT, Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, in the sense that the most of lyrics reflect the state and situation young people at the time. In conclusion, I think their music based on peace and love made a difference to the hippie generation. You are trying to find tranquility in the world.
The Beatles in London were of the most important music groups. They marked an era which to date is still very famous. They were protagonists of many events that marked great stage in two times. In 1963, where he released his first single, the population identified itself using clothing very similar to that of the singers.